There's the left. It's now built on the tree.
Every year, Montgomery County Police hosts a holiday task force that is focused on locating and arresting impaired drivers. This is typically starting the week before Thanksgiving through the new year. It's one of the deadliest times of year on our roadways, both nationally and here in Maryland. This wouldn't be possible without the help of our allied agencies here in the county.
The three phases of the DUI or DWI detection process are Phase 1, vehicle in motion, Phase 2, personal contact, and Phase 3, pre-arrest screening. In Phase 1, vehicle in motion, we're looking for things that the vehicle does. Speeding, driving too slow, failing to obey traffic signs, stoplights, stop signs, traffic control devices, swerving, weaving, any number of indicators while that vehicle is actually driving down the roadway that we can observe signs of impairment.
The second phase is personal contact. That's where we as the officers make contact with the driver, and we conduct an investigation as to whether the person might be impaired by a substance, including alcohol, or not. Our ultimate goal of that phase is to figure out whether to ask the person out of the vehicle. We look for signs of impairment during that phase, and signs of impairment might include the admission to drinking alcohol, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage, or a similar odor. If they have bloodshot eyes, if they have slurred speech, or they have any distinct demeanor that might actually indicate impairment by alcohol.
Phase 3 of the DUI-DWI detection process is pre-arrest screening. And pre-arrest screening are standardized field sobriety tests, SFSTs, and any other tests that we can perform during that time. The first of the three standardized field sobriety tests is horizontal gaze nystagmus. And horizontal gaze nystagmus, or HGN, is the involuntary jerking of the eyes as they gaze from side to side. We look for three clues during this test: lack of smooth pursuit, a distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation, and the onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. And then we also look for vertical gaze nystagmus at the end of this test.
The second test is called the walk and turn. It's a divided attention test, and it's similar to being able to drive a vehicle, where you're required to divide your attention between mental and physical tasks at the same time. The individual is asked to take a series of 9 steps in each direction and perform a turn as explained and demonstrated by the officer. There's a series of clues that we look for, and the clues are things that we're going to be able to determine whether the person is impaired by alcohol or not. During the instructional phase, we look for whether the individual starts the test too soon and whether they're able to maintain their balance during the instructions. There's 6 other clues that we look for, and it's whether they step off the line during any of their 9 steps in each direction, whether they miss heel to toe on any of their steps, whether they use their arms for balance, whether they perform the turn properly, and whether they take any more or any less steps than they're asked to take. And then also it's whether they stop while walking. The last standardized field sobriety test that we ask the person to perform is called the one-leg stand. It's another divided attention test, and it measures the person's ability to, again, divide their attention. The individual is asked to raise whatever foot they choose off the ground, about 6 inches from the ground, with their foot parallel to the ground, and keep it there for about 30 seconds. We look for 4 different clues during that time, and it's whether they put their foot down, and if so, how many times. It's whether they sway while balancing, whether they hop, and whether they use their arms for balance. After the person's arrested, they're transported to one of the processing stations. While at the station, they're advised of their rights via DR-15, which is one of the MVA forms. In doing so, they're advised of sanctions that can happen to their Maryland driver's license or their driving privilege in Maryland. Then they're asked whether they want to take an actual breath test via an intoximeter instrument.
After a driver elects to submit to a breath test, a certified intoximeter operator will respond to the station. They'll explain the testing procedure to the arrestee, and the arrestee will provide a breath sample on an intoximeter instrument, and that instrument will then tell us the BRAC, or the breath alcohol concentration, of that individual.
We are focused on this enforcement for many reasons. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration provides statistics on impaired driving. Annually, over 10,000 people lose their lives to impaired driving. That is 1 life lost every 51 minutes. This hits home for us as well. Officer Noah Leotta was working as part of the 2015 Holiday Task Force when he was conducting a traffic stop and was struck by a drunk driver on December 3rd, 2015. He later succumbed to his injuries on December 10th, 2015. This impacts us each and every time we're on the roadways working. If you plan to drink, please plan for a safe ride home. If a family member or friend is attempting to drive impaired, Please try to prevent them from driving and help arrange for a sober ride home. Please use a rideshare, taxi service to get home safely. Let's make sure everyone gets home every night, and especially this holiday season.